That's what you need. I got it now. I gotta know right now.
Consideration means that each party must give something in return from what is gained from the other party. This will signify a mutual exchange, demonstrating that both sides are giving up something of value, and without the consideration, there will be no formation of a valid contract. There are 6 rules of consideration in contract law. Today, we will be discussing about the rule of consideration, that is, consideration must be of an economic value. In their exchange, there must be some physical or tangible value rather than just an emotional or sentimental one. This could be goods, services, money, or anything else that has a monetary value. When parties enter into a contract, the economic value of the consideration becomes an important aspect. It will help to establish the fairness and the exchange and ensure that each party will receive something of value in return for their promise. This will contribute to the overall enforceability and validity of the contract. This can be observed from the case of White and Bluet and also Thomas and Thomas. The presence of a consideration of an economic value plays a big role on deciding whether these contracts are a valid contract or not.
Hey, I have something to tell you. You see this house? All of this will be yours after my death.
Oh really? Thank you.
I think we need to do that.
£1?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yes. Elena, here's the thing. For the house, I think we have agreed that you can stay at the house, but you need to pay for £1 per year. And you need to keep the house in good maintenance.
But why £1?
Just trust me, please. Okay.
Come in.
Miss Alina,
Yes?
I have to talk to you about something.
Okay.
So, about the house. I'm afraid we can't carry out with the conveyance to you.
What? Why?
Because £1 for rent per year, I cannot agree to this. It's way too low. It is illogical for someone to pay £1 for a year for a house this big.
This is breach of contract. See you in court.
Therefore, in Thomas and Thomas's case, the court is in favor of the plaintiff. Thank you.
In the Thomas and Thomas case, Mr. Thomas promised his wife that she could live in the house for her lifetime. Although this promise wasn't in his will, after his death, the executors agreed that she could stay in the house if she paid a nominal rent of £1 per year. Later, they tried to evict her. The key issue was whether the promise and the rent constituted a valid contract. The court ruled that even though the executor's statement expressing their motive wasn't enough to create a contract, the £1 rent was considered a good consideration. The judge emphasized that consideration, something of value in the eyes of the law, was present because Mrs. Thomas promised to pay rent and maintain the house. This made the contract enforceable even though the rent was not commercially substantial.
Several importance can be drawn out from as to why the consideration must have an economic value. One of them is to ensure an agreement is legally binding. For example, in this case, the consideration of £1 per year is made to ensure that the agreement is enforceable by law. Ms. Thomas was required to pay £1 per year for rent. Although this amount seems illogical, but in the eyes of law, it is sufficient since £1 also possesses an economic value. Father,
Yes.
you remember the money that you lent me?
Yes.
Around $500,000?
Yes.
But now I think I cannot afford to pay back.
Why? It's not a small amount. You think you can do it as you please? It's my money.
Because I lost all of it in gambling.
I don't have trust you. How about this? You don't have to pay me back the money you borrowed. However, you will promise me not to complain about how I distribute my property after my death. Okay?
Excuse me, are you Mr. Blake Jr., the son of the late Mr. Blake Sr.?
Yes.
I'm Mr. White, the executor of Mr. Blake Sr. So now I have a question for you. Why don't you pay back your father's money that you have been borrowed from him?
What money?
The money that you borrowed from him.
Oh, that money.
Yeah, it has been a outstanding payment
Why I need to pay that money?
because you have been borrowed from your father.
But I already made a promise with him.
What promise?
He said that if I don't talk about the inheritance, the money or the money that I borrowed is
Settle.
settled. Yes.
I think we need to talk this in court.
Therefore, in White and Lewis's case, the court is in favor of the plaintiff. Thank you.
In the case of Mr. White and Blewett, Mr. Blewett lent his money to his son, and when he passed away, the executor of his estate, Mr. White, sought to recover the debt from the son and sued him for the outstanding money. However, the son defends himself by claiming that his father had promised him that he don't need to repay the debt if he stopped complaining about how Mr. Blewett would distribute his property among the children. The issue was whether the son promised to stop complaining about his father's plan would satisfy the requirement of consideration in constructing a contract. So the court held that there was no consideration given by the son, as the promise not to complain had no economic values, so the contract could not be enforced. Furthermore, the son had no right to complain since Mr. Blewett could do anything he wished with his money.
In the White and Blewett case, the court emphasized that for a promise to be valid in a contract, it needs to have economic value. The son's promise to stop complaining about his father's estate wasn't seen as having this kind of value. This case reinforces the idea that mere promises without economic impact are insufficient for creating valid contracts. This also highlights the idea that in contracts, promises should involve something concrete and valuable, not just intangible or subjective matters. It ensures that agreements are based on meaningful exchanges, making the contract legally enforceable.